Go ahead, Arvin. What do you got?
Yeah, so let me share my screen. Does my screen is visible?
I can
Yep.
see it.
Yes. So I am using Gitness to
Nice.
set up local CI/CD in my pipeline. So in this we can create repository. Under repository, it is the repo, the hello. I just open it. It contains files, commit, branch tags. The main part is the pipeline part because it is running pipeline inside my Docker container. So I didn't need any test runner. Uh, in pipeline, some are good, some are bad one. The main point in this is if I create a new pipeline, something like testing, uh, I'll create testing 1 2 3. Let's say uh, it is the demo pipeline. We can run it directly, and they here are the plugins that we can use, and it is giving us like a lot of plugins. Like in the ACR, it is directly pushing the code to the ACR registry for the Ansible artifactory. So we can there is plugin directly build the artifactory from our CI pipeline. This is for the cache circle CI. So the main part is that for the migration, it is giving us a CI part for all other CI pipelines. So you will get the Jenkins, Drone CI, GitLab CI, everything here. Cloudflare stuff, Datadog, and mm, ECR, ECS, Elastic Beanstalk, and Sasa. You can actually use these to deploy these resources to local stack because this is only giving the plugin. You have to just change the endpoint. For example, if I click on this ECS deploy,
Just hold on
you
before you
have to
carry on.
just
Yeah.
yes.
Can I ask
So
a
you have
question?
to just give the yes.
Are those
Yeah, go
plugins allow
on.
you to, can you, so you can point that at local stack, Alvin?
Yes.
That is so cool.
And I have actually
Simulate
created
a
a S3
pipeline
one.
call going to a cloud provider.
Yes. And the main stuff are still in the bottom of the part, which is I am slowly coming into. It is doing all our git push stuff, git command, git delete stuff. So we don't have to get up chance logs generator. We don't have to do it manually, and we can actually use it for our local development purposes. Everything.
How do you get
And
I wonder how you get in that plugin list. Ortelius should be in that plugin list.
We have to create an Ortelius plugin for that. It is for creating the Harmon, which I think Steve can take a look on this one. So this plugin can interact with the Helm chart also.
So
it runs as a container. That's so cool.
So what open source project is this from? Is this part of the CNCF or?
I'm not sure this is part of CNCF or not. It is the project Gitness.
Oh, from Harness. Okay.
Harness. Yeah.
And is it an open source project?
In the dev channel. Yes,
Yeah.
it's an open source one. And actually, we can also create the plugin, or we can talk with them to create a specified plugin for us.
Got it.
This is so cool, man.
Yes. And
Nice one,
the
Holland.
other plugin that are also here is like the Java Maven one or Jenkins one if you are dealing with the Java project. I know Sasa is working on that part. For the Jira ticket, it is directly creating. Yes, in the past, Canico, Kubernetes stuff, Lambda stuff, and Ambient, Netlify, Nomad, npm. OpenFast is the one which we can use for the generating Lambda functions. So we have mainly 4 open source right now: OpenFast, Fusion, Knative, and Worker. And I am currently working on integrating OpenFast with the DigitalOcean. So I am writing a solution here, uh, which I will like open source soon. I will give the demo, maybe like in the next meeting for that stuff.
Oh, cool, Arvind.
Nice. That's a great find.
And yes, and another thing is, since we are like working on Pulumi stuff, we can actually create that template and use it inside the CLI. So we have to just give host it somewhere in the GitHub, and we can actually use it anywhere in our CLI part. The Pulumi deployment stuff that we will going to do.
Perfect. So let me know if you need, Arvin, you should have access to create new repos. Same with you, Sasha, for the Pulumi stuff. So,
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have the admin access, and we just need to like when the deployment is ready, we have to just extract this template and we have to open source it. That's all, and we
yeah,
can run it like Pulumi new, and in this part we just put the GitHub URL, and it works fine.
perfect. Yeah,
But,
so we can go ahead and create those Pulumi repos and start that part of it.
okay, cool.
Yes, so we have to
Let's write it in Go, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to use YAML. We're going to use Go, right? That's the idea, eh? We're going to
Yes.
convert all the Terraform
Yes.
to Go.
Right.
And
I think there
can
may
show
be
you
a-
how we can create.
I think there may
Yes,
be,
go ahead.
I think Kat was saying there was some way that we can use the Helm YAML files to convert them over to Pulumi. She said there was some interface to do that. So when you get to that point, after you get past the cluster creation, that we go ahead and talk to her about the Helm piece, since she works for Pulumi.
Yeah.
Okay, so like convert the Helm into Go, right? For Pulumi to deploy the services.
Right, and I don't know if we need to convert them to Go or if we point Pulumi to those YAML files.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. We might not have to do anything, right? And Pulumi can just run them.
Right, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
And yeah, and one last stuff. Uh, this this repo is for the cookie cutter. So we have to just find any like cookie cutter for the microservices part, and we can use it for the testing purposes. So I will share the link, and we can find any cookie cutter repo. Like let's take the Django one, and we can use it template anywhere in our product for the demo work.
Yeah, cookie cutter is
So
the
I think we can
same
keep
concept as
looking
Backstage.
Yes. So previously I was thinking about we can create the cookie cutter plugin for the Pulumi stuff. Like someone is already created Pulumi TypeScript cookie cutter. But since Pulumi is also giving its native feature, we don't have to like go that extra mile for achieving the same purpose.
Right. I think, like you said, we can just go native Pulumi with the Golang.
Yes. So we have still option of like creating the cookie cutter if someone want to experiment. But otherwise, Pulumi is. I will share the link for this repo. And one last thing, Pulumi demonstrate. I will suggest you all to like not use Pulumi Cloud to store the credentials, because we in this way the deployer of credentials also maybe pass out to the Pulumi cloud. Instead, we can use something like we have the AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, but local file system, and we have to just pass Pulumi login and the path to that file, and it will create .pulumi file there.
Okay, that's your
I
state.
have yes,
Uh,
I have created this, so I will show you the how is this looking in my local system. Let me show you.
why is that?
So I have given path to this repo in the Linux file system, and it is creating .pulumi file, and inside .pulumi it is creating those file. So let me, if you want to see, I will like open it in the VS Code and show you all. So let me VS Code. Add the tree. So in the state one, it is the file like the backups. Uh, it is storing it in the JSON format. And the logs, tag, and method.yaml. So I think we have to look at the stacks in this way, which is creating this. And one I have pulumi.yaml. So if like we are creating a password, if we like pass the secret, then instead of storing the password directly, it is stored in the form of a hash. So it is not actually, we can't expose the mm, password directly.
So what happens with if you put that on like a S3 bucket? Is this password still secure?
If someone hacked that cloud, then our password is still in their hand.
Okay,
It is still, the password is stored in the form of this form, and maybe if he can like crack it, then it is not secure anymore.
right. Okay.
So this is all that I want to say.
But the password's not in the state, right? The password's separate.
Yes,
Okay,
I hope so,
it's
because the
separate.
Terraform stores it in the state and it's not encrypted. That was the problem with Terraform.
Yes. So like Pulumi, we have to create a stack, and this is the part of the stack file. When we delete the stack, pulumi.dev.yaml will be deleted. So we have to like recreate it again.
okay. All right, that makes sense because
So yeah, that's
if we
all.
wanted to persist the state across everybody that's working with a shared cloud instance of our Kubernetes, that we would want to probably push that to a cloud storage somehow, and whether it's gonna be on the same, so that way we can maintain the state across all users. But right now, if you're running Pulumi locally against your kind cluster, you can maintain the state locally as well.
Yeah, you can do that, yeah.
Yes.
That's how I'm doing it at the moment. With the previous iteration, it was just on your local machine.
Right. And since we don't have a cloud provider yet, this route is going to work fine for us for now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like this approach of like instead of using Pulumi cloud, because in this way all our currency are going to that cloud,
Right.
and since it is giving us to like store it locally, or we can maintain it on ourselves, we can use that part.
Got it. Makes
So,
sense.
so So the Pulumi cloud would take care of securing your state, I guess.
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
that's what they offer, right?
Yeah, they're going to offer managing your state of all your clusters.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, in the past I was working on creating the infrastructure on Pulumi other than DigitalOcean. For the DigitalOcean part, it is pretty easier. For the droplet, we have to create, this is the code we have to use for the droplet. If we have to create a space, we have to apply the course rules and rerun. The space is like the AWS S3 bucket. That's all. And for the database, we have to use this, and all our infrastructure is ready. Mm, so yeah, that's all I want to say.
Cool. Looks good. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I can show you what I've been working on. There we go. Okay. Close that one. Okay, so I've been working on the hooking together our component version. So this is the current rendering that we have in our existing version 10. So in the component version, we kind of have the high level areas, and then we have our README, Swagger, and all those things in the separate boxes. So I've translated this over to using Svelte and pulling the data from the Orango database. I did move some things around. So each one of these is what's called a card. So you can basically create the box at that level. So I moved the licenses and vulnerabilities. I kind of took the separate boxes here, and I'm going to merge them together. I haven't pulled the data yet for those. I'm working on that. I have to change the database slightly, and I'll explain that in a second. So we're able to pull in the details, and I've split out. Let me go to full screen. I split out the Git details a little more, kind of classified them a little bit better. So we have the repo details, the commit, and then the activity that we have. We had a conversation with the folks from Zap, which is a dynamic testing tool. And they suggested that we associate test results as well from the workflow. So we'll have to figure out where to pull in the test results from the static code analysis tools and the linters and stuff like that. Basically, there's a file that gets created that we can look at and render as part of that. And because we're using the Orango database and it's a document database, it's simple to suck those things in. So we have our repo details, and then our README file, our Swagger file, like we have before, and our license. One of the things that took me a while to figure out, but I finally did with Svelte, was being able to change from dark mode and light mode and persist that. So folks like the dark mode, it'll be available for them. One of the things, does this layout look okay with the different cards? Or do we need to do like tabs across the front? I know one of the older versions of Ortelius, we had tabs. And then we moved away from the tabs to like a single page view type of thing. One thing we could do is we could do like bookmarks or, ways to jump to a specific section, we can add that on there as well. One of the things that I wanted to find out with is if we still want like this dependency map, this diagram that's down here. Do we feel like the dependency map is useful, or just like a list of the?
I think the list would work better. I don't think that the map is useful, and it's not rendering it when there's too many. So I think a list is going to be better.
Okay.
I have a question that we will integrate it with Backstage later.
What was that, Arvin? It's integrated with what?
Backstage.
This is not integrated with Backstage.
No, means we will do it in the future because Backstage will create this type of like diagram. So we don't have to like do it twice.
Well, this is the standalone application. So this is the front end, which is coming from the sec front end repo. That's all this Svelte code. So this has nothing to do with the Backstage pieces. Now, one of the things when you choose your whether you're in light or dark mode, that's initially based on your operating system settings. So if you have your operating system set to dark mode, that when you first come in, this page will be in dark mode versus light mode type of thing.
I got it. Thanks.
Now, some of the things that I found, if we look at the actual database. So I'm just running this database locally. Right now, we just have, well, they're called collections. And in the collection, you can see the different records that we have. And basically, if we look at, I think this top one, luckily I added an object type because without having the object type, you can't determine what you have, because this one here, if I do a find on it, is actually, so the top one and the bottom three are actually component versions. And then this one happens to be an SBOM that we brought in. So what I've realized yesterday is I'm probably going to move some of the like the SBOM over to its own collection. So we'll have like the evidence collection, and then we'll have an SBOM collection within the same database. The nice thing when we look at this is it's all JSON structured, so it's super simple to navigate and look at. And then all these keys represent the data here as it's transposed to be saved into NFT storage. That's a different process that happens in the microservice, working with that code that Utkarsh wrote. I haven't plugged it in yet, but that's what will happen here shortly. So it's really handy for us to be able to. So if you look at like an owner, so on the back end, we'll store the owner foo once, and it'll be referenced by this key. But we'll actually embed this owner into this object. Arango will only, from what I can tell, will only persist that data once. But when you look at the structure, it looks like it's embedded. So it comes in handy when you pull back the component version details. You get everything all in one big chunk, which makes it nice to be able to do like a single fetch of the component version bring all the data back without having to do multiple transactions on that front. The data, it's a little bit bigger, but when you add in like the gzip and all that stuff, it gets compressed. So it's actually pretty quick on that front. So that's one of the things that we'll go through and add a couple collections as we need them. Like I said, the one that popped out so far is the SBOM, just so we have that kind of separate for our queries. Because what ends up happening is the query to go through and join together the SBOM data with the component version data ends up being a little bit extra work because of the way we have to do the filtering based on the object type and things like that. But it works. It's actually pretty quick if we look at the JSON output here. So we end up with all of our attributes as we would expect. And then when we get to the packages part, it pulls together just the pieces we wanted out of the SBOM. So like the name, the plural, the language, that type of stuff is coming from the SBOM, and it's being merged in by this query that we're running. So that's kind of what I got. That's what things are going along. Like I said, we have a couple more objects we need to add, but it's working pretty easy. If you actually look at the code to make all of this work, is this page here. So we do some basically map an attribute to a tag. So, and then this is the card that we're looking at. So when we get the JSON string back, we actually just map the details over, and then we do some other things with the license and Swagger and things like that. But when we come down to the actual rendering of the page, it's really simple. We loop through all the fields for a particular box, and we start rendering it. And like if it's a link, so if we go back over to the UI, if we look at this one here ended up being an HTTP link, and we can actually just jump right over to it, which is one of those things we never could really do in the current version without some extra coding to make the links happen automatically. So that was a nice, simple bonus. So rendering the whole page is very short. We're under a couple hundred lines of code to render our page. So adding things on, moving things around is super simple. I'm very happy with the Svelte framework. It really comes into play nice and easy. So that's what I got, just to give everybody a heads up what we've been working on. And for Hacktoberfest, some folks have been doing some PRs already around the Helm and Docker pieces. So go ahead and make sure you grab a Hacktoberfest issue. So I think, Sasha, I assigned you the Pulumi one. If you want to, if you and Arvin want to work on it together, or if you want to pass it off to Arvin, or however you guys want to do it, just go ahead and make sure you change the assignee in the issues. But that's kind of where we're.
Can we?
Yep.
Can we also start working on that Golang part?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, for Pulumi, you mean?
And Pulumi, and for the coding part also.
Yep. All the microservices are out there. I've been pulling together. I've started focusing on the component version one, since that's the most complicated one, kind of get the lay of the land and the structure of the data. So adding on the other microservices and stuff is going to be pretty easy. I know Tracy started working on some of them as well. We got Tracy coding here.
Nice, Tracy.
Yes. She will be guiding
Um,
me now.
Guys. I used to be a developer, just so you know.
I wasn't. You can teach me something.
I doubt it. I highly
I
doubt
call
it.
myself a hacker.
So
We can do pair programming sometime.
yep, yep. And some of the because a lot of our microservices are basically templated. When we get to the Pulumi part, we can actually kind of go through the deployment process is going to be pretty much identical. So we could literally loop through a list of microservices and deploy them all the same way. So that's going to be one of the nice things with Pulumi. We'll be able to manage it as code in one place instead of scattered across all these repos.
Consolidate it.
That there is any new work in the XRPL work?
What was that? You broke up a little bit.
Any new stuff to do in the XRPL work?
The XRPL
It's
work
sti-
is
It's still out there. There's a lot of pull
yes.
requests for it.
Yeah, there's still work out there. I have to go through and assign. They're tagged with a bounty, but the bounty number may not be assigned yet. So I just have to get in there. If you grab one, just let me know, and I'll get the bounty assigned. I think there's one Arvin that you worked on for setting up all the repositories. I think that one I have to go and assign the bounty to that so we can get you paid on that front.
Yes,
same,
and
like,
on the new
yeah, and I have
on the new bounty, you can just assign myself to any work and
Yep.
just give me the description and I will work on that part.
Yep. So I think Tracy's assigned herself to the ones that she was working on, so we can keep track of who's doing what. That's the key, is just making sure you go in and assign yourself.
Steve, I just found out how to convert the stuff.
What was that, Sasha?
I just found out how to convert all that YAML into Go with
Okay,
Pulumi.
cool.
They provide a tool, so it's called Cube to Pulumi.
Nice. Is it an online thing, or do you run a CLI?
Yeah, it looks like a CLI, so we could actually automate this.
Yeah, because we'd still want to probably maintain some of the Helm charts, because a lot of folks will be still using Helm.
No, exactly.
So we'll kind of be in that that world for.
They give you a nice example there. They show how they run cube to Pulumi, go-f.pod.yaml, and you see how it converted from YAML into Go.
Cool.
It's pretty amazing, man. Into TypeScript and Python and C#, Java. Amazing. Except for C.
Sasha, are you using Pulumi AI?
No, I haven't got that far yet. Yeah, work keeps me busy too. Earning a salary.
Yeah, yeah.
I can only do so much. And so I put my task into progress, and it looks like we can convert this using a cube to Pulumi, and you can install it with Brew on Mac. Okay, cool. I don't know. How do you want to run that, Steve? Do you want to automate it in a pipeline or something, or just want to take some and convert it?
I think we should just figure out how to convert it locally first and get it working, and then once we have a better idea how it's working, then go ahead and put it into the pipeline.
Yeah,
because we'll need to figure out where it needs to go. Because we have that parent chart and the child charts.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling if we could run it against the parent chart, and generate all this in one go. That'll make it real easy to manage.
You can create a YAML directory and then you can do the whole lot in one go.
Yeah, so if you do a Helm, I can't remember if it's pull or fetch, but you can download the parent chart, and when you do the download the parent chart, it'll bring all the child charts with it, and that'll put it into a YAML file, YAML directory for you.
Okay, cool. That looks like the way to do it then.
Yeah.
Should I just create a repo or something along that line and then and store it in there? Do it like an Ortelius project?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you could do like just prefix it with SCEC. So yeah, just like the other for other repos.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, basically that's a supply chain evidence catalog. That stands for.
Nice acronym.
Yeah, so you could do a SCEC-Pulumi, and that would work for a repo name.
Okay, cool. So it's a supply chain evidence. What's this?
Catalog.
Catalog.
Catalog, yep.
That's cool. It's a cool name.
So that would, creating that repo and doing the stuff in there would work great.
So I just call it like SCEC
Pulumi.
Pulumi Helm or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Or yeah, that'll work.
Like everything with SCEC and then Pulumi, that's to do with Pulumi and then whatever it is.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. That makes sense.
And then because we had this meeting with the ZAP folks yesterday about dynamic testing, I actually looked into being able to test Ortelius as part of our GitHub action. And one of the things we can actually do is I found a GitHub action that'll actually run kind inside of the GitHub cluster or the GitHub action. So
that's cool.
Stand up kind. We can then deploy Ortelius to the kind cluster, and then we could actually run Zap to do our testing against it.
We can even go crazy with local stack and do the same thing. You can run local stack in your pipeline and deploy Ortelius in mock AWS.
Yep, exactly.
Stuff's getting funny. Stuff's getting so crazy.
Yeah. And like what Arvin found with the pipeline from Harness that will run locally versus on the cloud. You could actually do that pipeline with like you said, local stack, and then add on Zap for testing and do it all like a local test scenario.
Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And we can actually use something like Freebie to like show that deployment, but it is working on only the Docker Compose part.
Yeah, to run the testing, we actually need to.
In the chat.
Yeah, we need to kind of because of the way the ingresses go and the database and all that stuff. We actually do need to have a way to stand up a whole Kubernetes cluster.
That's where kind fits in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So, and the cool thing with the GitHub action for kind is it's totally ephemeral. So as long as it will only stick around as the life of the GitHub action. So you kind of stand up the cluster, do your deployment, run your test cases, and after your test cases have completed, and the action ends, that whole kind cluster gets deleted automatically for you.
Amazing. Deploy a whole Kubernetes cluster, put your application in there, test it in the pipeline, and then destroy it. That's
Exactly.
amazing, man.
And for us to be able to grab that data from the testing tools and associate it to that version, because one of the problems that Zap was having is they have no concept of what is an application in the microservices world. They don't know, they know the endpoints that they want to test, but they don't know what version of the application that they're actually testing.
Okay.
So that's where we come into play to be able to map together all the microservices to the application that Zap is testing. So I'm going to create some issues around
Steve,
that.
I have posted an issue in the chat. Can you assign me that part and also explain me how I can start working on that?
Yeah.
And second, can you post the link to the Jamp like GitHub so we can start playing with it?
Yep. I will. I may assign you a different microservice to work on, Arvin, but I will get you one out there.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll drop. I'll let you know in Discord when they're assigned, and also I'll put the Zap into Discord as well. It's an open source project, so I will get you that as well.
Oh, cool stuff.
So that's what's going on. Any other comments or questions?
No.
Yeah, one last. Sasa, that digger.dev in which we can run Terraform in the pipeline, they just open source it. So we can actually use it to run like the infrastructure as code in our CI pipeline.
Oh, cool. That's a really great find, Gitness.
Yeah, the one thing we have to be careful with is with Terraform is they changed their licensing. So like if I haven't looked at the license directly, but from somebody else that was telling me was basically you can't ship Terraform as part of your deployment.
You can't ship it as part of deployment. Yeah, so many different things, because I was reading an article and they were talking about as long as you don't use it as a competing product, you can use it.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. So we just have to be careful with that.
As long as you're not making money out of it, I guess. It's interesting.
Then Digger don't work because it's only working with Terraform and not with the Pulumi. So we have to look for another solution.
Yeah, and that's where the Pulumi came into play, is that they don't have that restriction.
What only works with Terraform?
Yes.
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
What only works with Terraform?
It is in
I didn't understand.
Yes.
But we're moving away from Terraform.
The digger.dev only works with Terraform. I posted it in the chat. Like in the banner, it is showing GitOps for the Terraform.
Oh, Digger.
In the README.
Yeah, no, that's a competing product.
Yes.
They have to pay a license, No worries, but we're going to Pulumi anyway. We don't need to worry about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have nothing else.
All right, Arvin, anything else?
No, not from my side also.
All right, Cool. Well, keep up the good work, everybody. And Arvin, I'll get a microservice assigned to you, and I'll hunt down that Zap repo so we can start looking at what we need to do on that front.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks
Cool.
all.
Cheers, Tracy.
Cheers.
Bye, Alvin.
Yeah, have a great day.
You too.